In this video, I'll be installing the newly released Roadanvi Head unit in the 4Runner. I'll show you how to remove the old unit, how to wire everything up in the new one, and the features and highlights, including wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. Stick around. Welcome back to the channel, guys. Today I am taking out the head unit that I installed just 1 year ago. It's the Roadanvi Head unit made specifically for the 5th Gen 4Runners. This was for the 2014 to 2019. I am taking it out regrettably because I do actually love this head unit. I've had nothing but success with it. There are a few little quirks that I think that could be improved upon. However, overall, it did exactly what I wanted to do. It was night and day difference between the OEM archaic head unit that they have in these 5th gens to the upgrade of the Roadanvi head unit. The reason why I'm taking this out is that I'm installing the newly released Roadanvi head unit. They just came out with this, I believe, a month or two ago. It is called the X12. The previous version was the F10. This is the X12. It is the updated version of Android. That's the Android 12. And it's supposed to have a better processor, a lot quicker, a lot more responsive. The older unit, I have to say, worked great for me. I never had any complaints with it, but I'm going to try this unit out and see how it goes. Also below in the description, everything that I use in this video or talk about in this video, I'm going to put references down below in the description, including links to other videos on how to remove certain items, including the Bulletpoint Mounting System that I did here. Stick around to the end of the video because I'm going to do a step-by-step instructional on how to remove this part of the dashboard, take out the old head unit, and how to wire up, what to look for, and install the new head unit. I appreciate each and every one of you who watch my video and comment. If you have any questions, leave them down below. I do answer every single question on all of my videos. Now let's go ahead and change the angle of this camera. I'm going to try to get it more head on. We'll boot it up and we'll take a look at the features and the interface. We have a better shot now of the unit from the front. I'm going to take my phone and just mount it up there on the Bulletpoint system, and I'm going to put the key in the on position in just a second here. You'll see how fast it boots up, and then we'll go over some of the features of this new unit. All right, I'm going to turn the key in the on position right now. That's actually the accessory position. So we'll went to the screen that I last left off. That's the radio. I'm going to put the volume down so I don't get copyrighted here. But if I hit the home button here, it takes me to this screen, which is one of the things I don't like because the home screen is actually this screen. Oops. All right, so now it's connecting to my phone automatically here. And that's it. It connected that fast. So it's a lot faster than the previous time. I'm sorry, it's a lot faster than the previous version. I noticed that, so that's a big upgrade. So if I hit the home button, now it takes me back to this home screen. So there's a little bit of, that's what I call a quirk. It should always come to this home screen. So I'm going to work on the settings for this. That shouldn't be too much of an issue to make sure it always goes to the screen. That's where I want it. All right, now that we're at the home screen, there's a couple options you have here. Phone link, if I press that, it'll take me to the screen I set up, which is my Waze navigation on the right, and it's my Spotify on the left. I listen to Spotify most often. I also have the radio on the top right here, and these are my 4 most used apps right now, but you can change these out as well and customize it the way you want. So if I hit phone link, you'll see it pulls up my Spotify on the left. I can make that bigger by tapping it. If that's my priority, or if I'm using the navigation, I can press that and make that bigger. You can customize everything here on the left side by the bottom left button. Oops. And that'll pull up a mirror of my home screen and then some of the apps that I can use over on this side right here. So I have it customized the way I want. I'll go back here, and then you can play with your Spotify or your Maps or your Waves or your whatever. There's a microphone down here that you can press, and you can go to Google Assistant, or we can do voice activation, which I'll do in a moment here. So if I go to the home screen, radio is here. This does have built-in amplifier, so it sounds quite a bit better than the OEM head unit. I don't want to get copyrighted, but all right, I don't want to get copyrighted, like I said. So it's easy to set the presets on this, and there's quite a few. I think there's 3 different FM presets of 6 stations here, so that works out well. It's very similar to the last version. On the folder bottom right there, that pulls up your internal hard drive that's on the head unit. It also pulls up the external hard drive if you connect it to the USB port, which I did connect. I don't know if this is going to come up here. Inside my glove box, I actually ran the USB connections. And you'll see at the end of the video what these are. but I ran them through the side and into the glove box. And I have two connections. So if I connect a external hard drive, it'll actually pop up right there. And then I can play any kind of videos or pictures or anything that I want to view will pop up over here. I just choose it. So that's chosen on the internal right now. So if I go to the back button here, it'll take me back to this home page. And navigation, you can set up for whatever navigation you want. In order to use this one right here as opposed to this one, you need to have a SIM card. And I'll show you that at the end of the video as well when I do the installation. The SIM card holder is tucked way back here. I do not have a SIM card. I'm not going to use one. You can use one. And I chose that to be Google Maps, but it's offline because I do not have a SIM card. So a couple other features I wanted to mention. If I swipe actually the settings button I put there, there are so many settings that you can choose from your apps to displays to sounds and things like that. You can connect through Google there. Car settings, this is very important. And the reason why is when I first booted this up, I did not have radio reception. I couldn't figure out. I contacted customer service. They told me to go to that setting button, then go to factory settings. Then you'll get in with a 0000, and then you have all these settings here. So this head unit is set up for European as well as Asia and USA. So you have to, what you can see right here is your radio area. I have it set to USA 2. I wasn't getting reception because my radio auto antenna was set to off. Once I turned it on, I had my reception. I actually spent a few hours trying to figure that out. So if you have this unit or similar unit and you run into that problem, check there. Hopefully I can save you a little time with that. But there are ridiculous amount of inputs and settings that you can play with as far as like colors and audio gain and things like that. All right, let's go back to the home screen. If I swipe over to the right, these are all my apps and widgets. And you can move these around. For example, if I want to take the Bluetooth button and put it where the car assistant is, I'll just long press, move it up, and then they'll swap. The assistant is here as well. If you have a front camera, you'll connect it, and I'll show you how to do that at the end of the video too. I do not have a front camera, but if you press that button, you'll get your front camera view here. And in a second, as it tests, it'll pop up and it'll say no signal. So, all right, let's go back. This one I use often. It's my equalizer for the radio and for the music. And you can hand move these on custom, which is what I have right now. I have the settings the way I want, or you can choose from a number of different presets on the equalizer. You can play with the surround sound here. You can play with the boost for the bass right here on this screen. And then your sound feel will be your left-right balance and then your front-back fade. Home button. Oh, let's go to the Google Assistant because this is one of the cool features. On the previous version, it worked well, but it works a lot better actually on this version. So if I go to the home phone link, I'm going to use voice activation instead of pressing that, but both will work just fine. I'm going to call my wife and I'm going to see if, actually let me text her first through the voice commands. I'm going to see if that works. I'm probably going to blur this out right here. I'm going to see if that works first and I'll let her know that I'm calling her. Hopefully she's available. Okay. Okay, Google. I got to put the voice on. Let's, all right, let me do this. Okay, Google. Text Juliana.
What's the message?
Hi, I'm going to give you a call from the new head unit in a minute.
I got. Hi, I'm going to give you a call from the new head unit in a minute. Ready to send it?
Yes.
Sending your message to Juliana.
All right, so you can see that that works real well. So hopefully if you receive that and she'll pick up, I'm going to do Google Assistant and make a voice activated call. You can say okay or hey. So, hey Google, call Juliana.
Hi.
Hi, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay,
There's an echo this time.
yeah, I'm in the garage right now, so I'm testing the new head unit with the microphone and see how it sounds. It sounds good from your voice over the speakers, so you can hear me clearly or no?
Yeah, very clearly.
Okay, good. All right, I'm just testing it out, so I'm going to hang up now, and I'll talk to you later.
Bye.
All right, bye.
Bye.
Okay, so on the last head unit, that worked well too. This works a lot faster. I noticed, in addition, I noticed that when I was listening to a voice come in over the speakers, and I actually mentioned this in the comment section of the last video I did on the previous version of the head unit. When the voices come in, it plays over the speakers and it sounded good, but it could have been better. I'm not sure exactly why, but that sounded a lot better on her voice coming in. And this one has an internal mic, which is in the top left here. It also has an external mic, and you'll see towards the end of the video when I do the install, I actually tucked the external mic back behind here. I didn't think it was necessary because I had success without it on the last unit. So, but if you really want to use it, you can run it up and mount it somewhere above or on the side. But it does have the internal and the external mic. I just didn't see a need for the external mic. So I'm going to hit the home button, and then I'll just show you a couple other features here. There is a calculator. I don't know what that is. There's a calendar, clock, there's a calculator right there if you want to use a calculator. And there's a few other options here like YouTube, just so you can put your widgets for like YouTube and things like that. Since I don't have a SIM card, that won't work. It'll work here because if I'm connected to Wi-Fi, I can pick up YouTube, Netflix from my garage or near my home. But when you're on the road, you won't be able to access that unless you have a SIM card. So I'm going to do a follow-up video on this, guys. I know I said I was going to do one on the last one. I never had an opportunity to do it, and I was dying to get one out because I was asked numerous times to do one. The previous version of the Roadanvi Head unit is still for sale, and it's still a great unit, and I would recommend it. This version is the updated version with the faster processor and the updated version of the Android operating system. This is a great unit as well. I'll put a link to this one down below. This one I paid $626 shipped. That included the tax. I think it's like $588 before tax. So I'm going to play with it over the next few months. I will put a follow-up video out. I'm not going to say I promise because I didn't do it last time, but my goal is to put a follow-up video and let you know how everything is working. I know with my experience on the last one, I had no issues, so everything worked well. I'm hoping to have the same success with this one right here. Stay tuned because the next part of the video, if you're interested, I'm going to show you how to take everything out from the old head unit, and I'm going to show you the wiring, how to make sense of all the different wires. For this head unit, everything is plug and play, but it can get complicated with certain features. So I'm going to show you how to navigate through that, and I'll show you how to put everything back together as well. Also, you do get to keep the factory USB and auxiliary, which is down right below here, but you have to know how to connect that, and I'm going to show you how to connect it on the next part of the video here. And with that, you can also connect through wire for Android Auto or CarPlay. By the way, I never had an issue. I know other head units have had issues, but I've never had an issue with connecting my phone to the last version of the Roadanvi Head unit. And I used the Android, my daughter uses CarPlay, and both worked equally well. I know a lot of head units have had issues where they disconnect or they lock you out or things like that. I never had an issue with that. So I'm hoping that this one is just as good. I'm sure it will be, but I will do the follow-up video on that. So wirelessly or wired through the USB auxiliary port down below on the 5th gens. And I'll show you how to wire that up. But stick around for the next part of the video if you're interested in learning how to swap out the head units and how to wire everything correctly. Any questions, like I said, leave them below. I'll be happy to answer them for you. And thanks for sticking around, guys. I appreciate each and every one of you. And I will see you on the next one if you're departing the video now. Otherwise, I'll see you on part 2 of the video. Two side panels right here. They just pull right out. They just have little yellow clips. One on the left side, same thing, just clips in, push in, pull out. Then the center right here, there's 3 knobs. This is the climate control area. Pulls right out as well. You have a little clip down here on the climate control area, and you can choose to unplug it and get rid of this piece, or I'm just gonna lay it down. There's gonna be 4 10mm bolts. That's it, head unit's ready to come out. The top is just clipped in with those little yellow clips too. They're just push clips. So all I have to do is just grab it and pull it right back out. There you go. So we took out the older version of the Roadanvi head unit. This is the F10, and I'm sitting it right next to the newer version, which is the X12. So this has the updated Android operating system. Everything is updated on this one. So let's hope. I really enjoyed this older version. but I wanted to try this one as well. So hopefully I'll be as satisfied as I was with this one. I had this one in the car for just about a year and worked beautifully. So it's a night and day difference. Either way you go, it's a night and day difference over the OEM unit. So this is all the wiring that's included. I laid it all out, and I know it looks intimidating, but I'm going to try to make it real easy for you. I'm going to turn this guy around. I put a towel behind to protect everything here. All right, so I labeled some of the things. So actually label this one on top. This one says GPS. That will be the GPS antenna. This will be, let's see right here, that'll be the Wi-Fi antenna. There's a USB port. That's a second USB port, and that's for the SIM card, and that's for the mic. So I'm going to show you how everything plugs in here. It's real simple. The hardest part to figure out was how to retain the factory USB and audio port. I don't use those. However, if you're doing a wired CarPlay or a wired Android Auto, you can use it that way, and it works real well. So we're going to take this wire with the purple lead or the purple connector, and it actually has an extender for the USB. That'll plug into this first one that I label USB. It's a 4-pin. So this wire will come out of the radio. It'll be an extender, and then it'll connect into this wire. And this has the black square connector. That'll go into the factory USB wiring, and I'll show you that once we get inside there. Okay, so that's all connected, and now we have a long extension here. So, all right, so we'll take the antenna, and that'll be for the Wi-Fi, and that'll just screw in here. And it's one thing you got to pay attention to when you connect this. Do not leave it sticking up like this. It'll interfere when you insert it into the car. So make sure it's tight, and just put it off to the side. As long as it's not sticking above the edge part of the radio here, or the head unit. This is the GPS antenna right here. It has a blue connector. So it's color coded here, and that'll just connect here. This is all going to get tucked. I'm not going to put this out. It has double-sided tape that you can mount it out of the, like on the windshield or something. I'm not going to do that. There's a lot of these things I'm not going to use, but I'm going to connect them and tuck them inside so I don't lose the wiring if someone else wants to take advantage of these features in the future. This is the main wire harness. It's got the CAN bus, and I actually connected it already. I'm going to disconnect it and I'll show you what I did. So this has the larger connection that will go right here, and I'll snap in. Try to listen for that snap. Then we have the smaller one. Let's see. This is the smaller one. This has the audio visual, but this is going to be only used typically for just the reverse camera. This one will go in the top left right here. Listen for the click. Good. Now we connect these two harnesses. On the right side main harness, we're going to have two yellow connections. They both say camera on them. Camera, camera. Only one works, so if you put your car in reverse and you're not seeing the picture come up, you have to switch them out. Figure out which one works. And I actually labeled them like I did when I did the last install. That one did not work, so I put an X on it, and this one is the one. So this will be sitting on the side, and this will get connected into the left side harness that also says cam in. I put a line on that one. So we'll just connect these two right here, and that'll operate the reverse camera. Now we have on the right side main harness, we have the antenna that'll get your radio reception, and that will cross over and plug right into that bottom left hole right there. Okay, so these other ones I'm going to show you. This is another long USB connection, and it's got two USB ports right here. So it's labeled as a phone link and a USB link, and that's if you want to connect like a hard drive or something to upload pictures or music into your radio. That has the brown connector. It is, I believe, an 8-pin, and that'll get connected here. I labeled it USB 2. USB 1 was the purple connection. That's for the factory, and we'll push that in. Listen for the click. I'll show you how I route this when we get inside. I did something pretty cool. All right, this one right here we're not going to use. This is if you're adding aftermarket video screens or front camera or anything like that. SIM card I am not going to be using, but we're going to connect it anyway, and I label SIM right between the USB ports right here. I just don't want to lose this, and I know if I keep it in my garage it's going to get lost, so I'm going to tuck it behind the radio. And then we have a mic. So this already has a built-in mic when you make phone calls or if you talk to the radio for voice commands. On this unit it worked real well, so I'm not going to use it. I'm not going to use this mic on the unit, but like I said, I will connect it, and that's on the bottom right here. So we have all our wiring. Okay, so I think I have everything, and we actually have one more. This is an antenna, and it says for 4G. So I'm going to screw that in there, and that'll get tucked away as well behind the unit. Okay, so I have everything all connected. So simple. We have a lot of connections here, which look intimidating. Don't be intimidated by this. They all plug into the factory harness. I'll show you when we get inside the vehicle. All right, let's go ahead and take this and head inside. Before installing the unit, you're going to have to take a little bit of time. Take the vents, hazard light, the control for the vents, and also this little top piece right here will have to come out and be transferred over to the new unit. This right here is the Bulletpoint Mounting System. It's one of my favorite things. I mount my GoPro phone and my radio gets all connected here. I'm going to install that on the new unit later. I just want to get this unit installed and test it out and make sure everything is working as it should. The last thing to switch over are these brackets. This is where the 4 bolts go that I showed you earlier. So I got the head unit back in the vehicle. I put a towel here to protect the cover, the face and the knobs, and we have all these wires. So let's figure this one out. All the white plugs from the radio harness simply plug into all these wires that you originally unplugged on the OEM harness, and they all fit very easily. You can't screw that up. There's 2 wires we won't be using. It'll be this one coming down from the top, and this white round connection, and then we have this one coming in, which is a round, a round black connection. One is for a GPS antenna and one is for XM Sirius satellite, so we won't be using those. This one also will not be connected into the wire, the main wire harness. This I believe is for the hazards, which we will install separately. So one more thing to note, actually 2 things to note. There's a ground wire that I put in right here. This radio needs to be grounded, so what I did is I actually I wanted it nice and long. I ran the ground wire with a Wago connection, and these are simply lever connections. I did it so I can remove the entire radio without having to remove the ground. This is the ground wire from the head unit, and I'll connect it to the ground wire that I just showed you that I have screwed into the back right here. The wire's in. Now we just take the one side of the lever, lock it down, and then we have our ground connection from the radio to the vehicle. The last wire to note is this gray wire right here. I'll get a close-up of it as well. This is for your factory USB auxiliary port right here. So if you want to keep that functioning, you'll connect this, and that'll get connected to, I'll show you. That's the USB extender that I put on. This one that I showed you earlier. So it was a pink plug that connected to the back of the radio. It says USB on it, labeled, and then that gets connected into the USB extender, and then in the end was that black square connection. So that'll get it connected to the factory gray connector. Connect all this. Unfortunately, I don't have my camera person, so I'll connect all this and then I'll show you all my connections. That took about 3 minutes to connect everything. There is one connector that's not being used, and looks like it has some gray wires, white, brown, and black. So I'm not sure exactly what that's for. It's probably for another option. This might connect over to the other harness that we're not using to controls like the front camera, amplifiers, things like that, video screens. So the antenna plugged in here, and then I have that factory USB connection with the black square one into the gray square one, and everything else is connected. Thank you for sticking around to the end of the video. I do appreciate each and every one of you. If you found the video helpful or useful, please hit that like and subscribe button. I appreciate your support. And don't forget, life begins where the pavement ends. I'll see you in the next one, guys.